Well, we're getting a little peek behind what it's going to be like when we get to that place called heaven. And John and Kathy Burke have a great new book out. It's called Imagine Heaven, devotional based on John's bestseller, which came out a couple of years ago with the same name, Imagine Heaven. Now, John, you talk a lot about, the five senses, but being multiplied many times in this place we call heaven.
Yeah, I think many times we don't live for eternity. Which is what we're trying to do in this devotional, help us meditate on eternity. We miss it because we don't realize how much of life it'll be. So much more alive than we've felt here. And people who have died and then been resuscitated and had a glimpse of heaven, which is millions of people, they talk about how they don't just have five senses there, it's more like 50 senses. It's life abundant, like Jesus talked about.
We can't even imagine. I can't imagine that.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
John in the book of Revelation tells us that the glory of God is the light of heaven. There is no sun or moon. It's His glory that lights it up. Well, people say in these experiences, they see colors way beyond our color spectrum. And they can't even describe the colors and the beauty of heaven, of the flowers and the trees and everything. Well, it makes perfect sense because the color spectrum of this life is the light of the sun. The breakdown of the light of the sun, the color spectrum there is the light of God. Of course it's going to be more.
So Kathy, when you were reading these stories, because it's obviously you wanted to get this into a devotional, how did it impact you, and what do you want to try to get through the devotional?
Well, in the devotional, when we share the story that John just described, we make it more applicational in that we realize, like in Hebrews 11, the heroes of faith, they were looking toward the heavenly country to get through the difficulties of life that they were going through today. And in the same way, we can read these stories and just focus on what's to come, because that's really what our lives are really going to be about forever.
And then we can meditate on that. And John, you know that I work with persecuted Christians, and a lot of the interviews I've done, they've lost loved ones or they're going through just horrible things. Heaven and that eternal life is something they're focused on as well.
Yes, because it's what motivates us. It's what should motivate us to live by faith now and be willing to go through sharing in the sufferings of Christ that we might share in His glory, Paul said in Romans 8. So when we face the trials and the difficulties today, remembering that the life to come is not less life, it's so much more life. All the experiences of this life and far beyond.
If you're going through a difficult time today and you're just needing some hope, I would strongly recommend this book. I'm actually using it in my own devotionals right now. There's Bible verses in there. It's very scriptural. There's also a time you can, from Kathy's pastoral perspective, make some practical applications. There's prayer in there to help us. Because you know what? We walk in darkness down here. There's a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenges. But there's coming a day when it's going to be so exciting. And so we get a glimpse into this. It's an amazing book, so I encourage you to get it. Imagine Heaven, devotional, and with your best ministry gift, we'll get it to you, 1-800-265-3100, or go to crossroads.ca.